Welcome into the End of Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, October 5th. Big card of stakes races on this opening weekend of the Keeneland Fall Meet. I'm Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development, Jim Goodman. We're going to talk about the all-stakes pick 4 that starts in race 7, and then if we have time, we'll go back and hit the other stakes race, which is outside of the late or the all-stakes pick 4. There's an all-stakes pick 4 on the 7th, a late pick 4 on the 8th. But, Jim, let's jump in to the 7th race, and it is the Grade 2 TCA Stakes for fillies and mares. I thought this was a very well-matched group. Where did you land?
Oh, I thought so, too. I think we sound like a broken record when we talk about this opening weekend because every race is like, oh, well, you could go so many different ways. So difficult to narrow it down when you're talking about pick 4 ticket. But inside this race, I think Mia Mischief is going to be my pick here. I just really like the Saratoga race, the ballerina. She didn't run that well, but she was up against Come Dancing, Dawn the Destroyer, and she got up on the pace and just kind of gave it up. I don't think that took a lot out of her. It's also at a 7-furlong distance that is not her best. So Mia Mischief coming back to Keeneland, where she won where she's won once before at Keeneland. She's 1-for-1. And she's 4 for 9 at the distance with 4 seconds. Asmussen looks like he might have a loaded barn this time. And I think Mia Mischief with Joel Rosario coming in and take the ride, well meant for this race. And I think she's got a big shot. Dawn the Destroyer, I mentioned before, for Kieran McLaughlin, coming out of the same race, ran better in the ballerina against Come Dancing. Only got beat by 3.5. And Come Dancing is probably the best female sprinter in the business right now. So I think she's got a big shot. Hours to Run for Larry Jones and Gabriel Saez, Spice Perfection for Peter Miller and Castellano. Shalon may be I mentioned her last, she may be the morning line favorite. She's run second 3 times at Keeneland, including this race last year when she ran a really good second to Golden Mischief. So she's going to be right there as well. Talk Verve to me has a shot. Danuska's my girl. I didn't mention her for Flavian Pratt, who always comes in here and rides well. So I think it's wide open here. I'm going to go very deep in the pick 4. But Mia Mischief will be my win pick in here for Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario.
You mentioned Danuska's girl right there at the end. That's the one I'm actually going to. That speed coming in from California may be the deciding factor here. You look at her recent record, and her only recent loss came against Marley's Freedom, who was the favorite in the filly and mare sprint on the Breeders' Cup card last year down at Churchill. So she's my pick to win, but I'm not going to go as deep as I would like to go in the pick 4 to keep the ticket affordable, because this is I could see probably more than half the field winning this. Spice Perfection I liked, won a Grade 1 here back in April. Mia Mischief I have on my list. I think she's run here well before too. Run well here before too. And Shalone, I'm thinking she might be a little better at 7 than 6, but she always runs her race. So I hate to lose a pick 4 by leaving her out. So I'm going to use all 4 of those when we get to the pick 4. And as I said, I could certainly go deeper. Dawn the Destroyer probably would have been next on my list. Let's move to the 8th race. It's the Grade 1 First Lady, the first of 3 straight Grade 1s. So fillies and mares here on the turf. I think it's Chad Brown. I'm just not sure which one. I'm going to lean to Rushing Fall. She's only less than 2 lengths away from a perfect record. She's 4 for 4, I think, on this track. But her stablemate, Uni, had won 5 in a row before running into Got Stormy in her track record-setting performance last time up at Saratoga. So I think one of those 2 wins this. I'm going to try to go narrow in the pick 4 in this spot to be able to spread in the other races. If you want to look beyond those 2, I think Juliet Foxtrot is certainly developing into a nice filly, but I just don't think she's as good as the top 2. Indian Blessing you could take a look at as well, but I'm going to go with Chad Brown here in the 8th. How about you?
Yeah, there's some interesting storylines here. You've got Basilica coming in from the West Coast, and if you ever want to get in the horse business, you need to follow these guys because they claimed her for $40,000. And she has now won 18 of 34 lifetime for $1.5 million.
Not bad.
And all she does is win. Yeah, that's a pretty good investment. All she does is win. I don't think she's in the class of Rushing Fall and Uni. But I've played against her a couple of times out west and gotten beat. So she's got a a grade 1 on her resume, actually 2 grade 1s, and she's going to be got a big shot in here. But I'm going to go with Rushing Fall. 4 for 4 at Keeneland, 4 for 4 at the distance. She may become, we're checking this out, she may become the only mare or the only filly to complete the sweep of all the filly and mare races at Keeneland. She's already won 4 of them, and the First Lady is her 5th one, and we're checking that. I know that she would, if she wins this, as a matter of fact, mathematics tell me that I saw something in a press release last night there that Wise Dan is the only horse that has won more stakes than Rushing Fall. So I would assume then if she gets her 5th one, she's second to Wise Dan's 7 stakes races at Keeneland. So pulling for Rushing Fall for history's sake, and I think she may just be a little bit better than Uni, especially on what is her home course pretty much. So I'm going to single Rushing Fall when it comes to the pick 4. I can make a case for Uni, Basilica, Juliet Foxtrot. Some of the others here, this is not quite as deep a race. I think that I think we're on the right track there. I think there are some tosses in here that may get in the money, but probably can't win. So Chad Brown's got a strong hand, but I would not be shocked if Basilica jumps up and runs a big race.
Let's move to the 9th race, the Grade 1 Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. And a lot of these horses are very lightly raced, 1 or 2 starts, so not a whole lot of form to go on in this spot. Who do you like in the Breeders' Futurity?
Yeah, it's just like the Alcibiades. As we're taping this on Friday morning, it's kind of a crapshoot. What horses, what 2-year-olds get better in the fall? You can make a case for a lot of these horses here, and I'm going to go deep in the pick 4. I'm going to take as a win bet. That Saratoga race for Tap It to Win last time out, a maiden special weight, beating Complexifier, who came back and won, and winning by 3.5 was extremely impressive. First time on the dirt. Tried this horse on the turf at Woodbine and ran okay, but he really blossomed in that maiden special weight at Saratoga. Those maiden special weights up there are so tough. So Tap It to Win is going to be my win pick. But I can make a case for By Your Side for Keneally coming out of the Hopeful. Didn't run very well that day, but was 2 for 2 before that. Probably didn't like the sloppy track. So if you draw a line through that, and he's going to get a dry track here on Saturday, I think he's got a big shot. Enforceable for Mark Cassidy and Giroux. Numbers aren't that good, but has proven that he can get the distance, ring a 1.8 miles at Saratoga and broke his maiden. Maxfield for Brendan Walsh, only a one-time start, but picking up Ortiz, and Ortiz came back to ride this horse. He rode it at Churchill Downs on September 14th, and he takes it right back, so that's a good sign. Aja Weed for Akira McLaughlin fits on numbers, and Governor Morris may be the morning line. He's the morning line favorite, maybe the big chalk because of that 9-length win at Saratoga. Don't know how much that came as a result of a sloppy track, however, but he's been working with Todd's best horses, and Governor Morris has got a lot of steam coming in here, and will probably be the favorite. Those are the 5 I'm going to use in the pick 4, but Tap It to Win is my win pick.
I'm in a tough spot here because there's not a lot of form to go on, and then several of the horses I like are drawn outside, which is not the best place to be at 1 mile and a 16th. So I'm like you. I'm going to spread as much as I can when we get to the pick 4. Governor Morris is the one I ended up on off that smashing debut at Saratoga. He was really touted going into that race and ran to the reputation, so he might just be something special. January 1, I'm going to include a little more experience for this one, and getting back on the main track could be a big plus for this horse, for Kenny McPeak. Aja Weed, I like the fact that one really improved when they stretched him out in distance, going out to 1 mile, so now he stretches out to 1 mile and a 16th, could be even better. Tap It to Win improved dramatically, as you mentioned, when switched over to the dirt. So that's very impressive. And that horse is drawn much better than the others I like. And I'm going to throw an American Butterfly for Lucas. This horse has good speed, and I think that could be a big asset here too. So I'm going to go deep when we get to the pick 4s, and if you're playing pick 5s. But Governor Morris is going to be my win pick. Gets us to the Grade 1 Shadwell Turf Mile. And I am all Euros in here on the top. Vintager comes in off a Group 2 win in Germany. A lot of times those are tough fields in those German races. Previously had won a Group 3 in France, and this horse has a great record at the 1 mile distance. Trainer Charlie Appleby has done well shipping over and picking his spots in North America in recent years. Robin of Navan might be well served by having a local jock. Soudois won impressively here 2 years ago. They make the long trek back, so suggesting that they've got some confidence there. Among the U.S. runners, I think Valid Point's the one I like best, but he's just a little light on experience, and with some of these Euros being much more battle-tested, I'm going to lean to them. But as far as playing the race, I think I'd play the 3 Euros along with Valid Point, and you'll probably get a couple of decent prices at least on some of these European horses. But I'm going to lean toward Vintager in here. How about you?
I thought this one was the toughest one of the bunch. Vintager obviously has got some reputation and has got some good time form ratings, but first time North America. Not sure if he's going to be ready for this. There's some tough horses in here. And I understand you're going with the Euros. I like to do that in the Breeders' Cup races, but I'm going to go way deep in here. This is the deepest one I've got, and I'm going to break my rule. I can't afford to go 14 deep, but I'm going to go over half of them. So if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Valid Point. I agree with you that he's not as battle tested, but he's 3 for 3. He's obviously had some issues. He's been off since August, but maybe that Secretariat win at Arlington was extremely impressive. Beat Van Beethoven, one of the Euros there, who was first time North American, ran really well. But I think Valid Point might take a step up here, and that would be my win pick. But God knows I'm not definite on him. I'm going to use Next Shares, Van Beethoven, Bowie's Hero, Admission Officer Brian Lynch. I think has got a big shot. March to the Arch, who beat Bowie's Hero last time out. If you're correct and the Euros are just better, then I'm throwing away a lot of money. But I'm just thinking that the Euros all have question marks as well. And so, and Soudois is probably the most battle-tested Euro and won this race 2 years ago. I'm not going to use Devisadero in Real Story, drawing way outside. Devisadero just isn't what he used to be. So I think I'm going to go really deep here. I'm not going to bet a lot of money on Valid Point, but I am going to key him on top in the exactas and drives.
There is also one other stakes race that we can talk about. It is the 6th race, the Grade 2 Woodford, a turf sprint. Give us a quick thought on that one.
Yeah, I think Imprimis is the 2-1 morning line favorite for Joe Orsino, and got a great prep race under him at Kentucky Downs, and 1-for-1 at Keeneland, 7 for 9 at the distance. I'm going to stand with him here. That Shakertown last year was very impressive. Came out of the 11 hole and ran everybody down, and before that ran a great race at Gulfstream with a 109 buyer. So I think just on past form, Imprimis not stands out here, but I think it's going to be a very solid favorite. I think make a case for Leinster if he runs back to that Troy at Saratoga at 5.5 furlongs, and Smart Remark for Vicky Oliver. She always comes up with a couple of really live horses here, and I think Smart Remark fits in this field very well, and came out of that same turf sprint at Kentucky Downs. So went off at 69-1 down there and ran a really good second. So getting better at the right time. But I'm going to go with Imprimis in the Woodford. It kicks off the All Stakes Pick 5, which is it's got to pay a bunch. I can't imagine chalk winning out on these 5 races.
I went with Leinster in here just slightly over Imprimis. I think if you want to narrow down, you could maybe just take a stand with those two. Extravagant Kid was the next one I liked a little bit, but I think that one maybe is a little more formful. That one in the First Lady, and then I think you got to go. I'm like you. I think you got to go deeper in all those other spots. Jim, one thing I forgot to do was recap our Pick 4 tickets. So let's do that. 7th race, All Stakes Pick 4. What's your ticket?
Okay, going deep everything except the second leg. So I got in the TCA, I got 1, 3, 5, 6, 8 with Hours to Run, Spice Perfection, Dawn the Destroyer, Mia Mischief, and Shalom. Then I'm going to single Rushing Fall, the 11 horse in the First Lady. So then I got lots of money to spend. I'm going to go way deep here. I'm going to spend $120 today because it's a huge day, and I think these payoffs are going to be great. So the 9th race is the Breeders' Futurity, and I may not be deep enough here, but I'm going to go 6 deep here with 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10. Tap It to Win, By Your Side, Enforceable, Maxfield, Ajoweed, and Governor Morris. And then in the last leg, take as many as you can afford here. I put together a ticket with all here, and I may even do that if I think that it's going to be that wide open, and I really do. I'm going to go 8 deep here, which makes me $120. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11, 12. Next shares, von Beethoven, Valid Point, Bodie's Hero, Admission Office, Vintager, March to the Arch, and Cerdois. So my ticket is $120. It's 1, 3, 5, 6, 8 with 11, with 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, with 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11, 12.
All right, I'm going to go with 4 horses in the first leg, 3, 4, 6, 8. Then I'm going with the 2 Chad Browns, 11 and 4. Then I'm going 5 deep in the Breeders' Futurity, 1, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then in the Turf Mile, going 4, 8, 10, 12. So my ticket is $80. It's a challenging card, but you'll be well rewarded if you can be right a few times. So best of luck with your wagers for the Saturday card. Should be great weather. We'll be back for another edition of the In the Money podcast for Sunday to take a look at the card that is headlined by the Juddmonte Spinster. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach, and this is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.